Hello, my name is Georges Verbena. I'm an astrologer and this is a full moon in Virgo February 24 astrology update. So you want to know what happens on this full moon in Virgo. This full moon is highlighting a very special ending of a very dark period, which was the last 2 months, which was starting when Pluto was conjunct the Sun and entered the sign of Aquarius on the 20th of January. This is the ending of that cycle because this is the last time that we have a major heavy aspect in any connection to the inner planets. Because there is a coming Sun-Saturn conjunction on the 28th of February, just 4 days after the full moon. But before we talk about that, we'll just talk about this full moon in Virgo. So what is this full moon about? Very easy. For that, I want you to look on the chart that I am looking at, which is a full moon in Virgo chart. So I will bring it up for you here. So you see this chart on the left side, which I'm going to make bigger for you. So from my position, since I live in Germany, there's a full moon in Virgo on the 24th of February at exactly 1:30 p.m. Since I'm making this video live on 2 p.m., I'm doing it exactly at the time during this new moon, this full moon. So this full moon in Virgo is in 5 degrees 23 of Virgo, in opposition to the Sun in 5 degrees 23 in Pisces. Like every full moon, there's an opposition, and whatever is conjunction the moon and the Sun will be most significant for you. Since this is at 12:30 universal time, you may experience this in a different position, in a different time, depending where you live. So if you live in the United States or in Australia, you may experience this full moon on the 25th or the 23rd. A full moon takes about 3 days to complete its cycle of peak illumination. So around 2 days before the full moon, and actually 2 days after the full moon. You could say it's a whole week of intense energy. But really, 2 days after, 2 days before, it will be the most intense. But during the same day of the full moon, you will definitely notice something. So whatever it's going to be is going to be highlighted by the planets very close to the Sun and Moon. So here in this chart, you see that Mercury, which is a planet of communication, has just entered the sign of Pisces because the 2 degrees of Pisces, very close to the Sun. Now technically, this is not something special, because Mercury usually always sticks close to the Sun. Many people are born with a Sun conjunction Mercury placement. However, it may highlight the need for you to communicate at this time, but what you're communicating about is things about the subconscious. This is a full moon that's focused on healing, and having the Mercury, planet of health and communication, and the sign of subconscious healing and shadow work and psychic work and art, which is Pisces, is going to highlight the need to talk about art, exchange in art, to heal yourself. Because that part of you, that brain, that perception that sees into the symbol and absorbs the symbol to heal you and redefine your self-image, your self-identity and self-worth, which is the Sun, is at some level going to be highlighted during this full moon. What is also going to be highlighted is what is coming for you, which is the Saturn conjunction with the Sun. It has already entered the orbit during this full moon, so many people will feel the Sun-Saturn conjunction already, even before February 28th. Now, this particular conjunction is quite heavy. It's the heaviest aspect and the last heavy aspect we're going to have until the Sun moves into Aries, which is going to be at the end of March. So this placement, Sun conjunction Saturn, either you get a promotion, you lose a job, you get pregnant, you get divorced, you have a breakup, or if you have nothing like that and you're not even interacting with anybody and you don't come out of your toxic relationships, which most of you actually will, then maybe you're alone and you're trying to start a new project. A new project which is going to be a long-term effort to heal yourself. In short, you are committing yourself to something that's going to heal your mental health after a 6 to 12 month period. Now, not everybody is going to do that, but unless you're going through a promotion or a breakup, you are committing yourself to a long-term project. In that project, you're not going to see the fruits of that project until later. Because Pisces, it's in Saturn in Pisces, is future-oriented. And you have to do that thing, you have to fix that issue, because it's going to negatively impact your mental health if you don't. Now, before you even start to fix an issue, you must first become aware of the issue, which of course both the Sun and Mercury are helping you to become aware of, because they're illuminating Saturn, the planet of perception, and the planet of illumination. Mercury and Sun are going to be conjunction Saturn. So you will be aware that something is not working for you, something is blocking you, something is restricting you, and you're wondering, isn't there something I can do about it? I'm becoming painfully aware of my limitations. And these limitations are concerning my mental health, which is very interesting because Saturn is very powerful in the sign of Pisces. We cannot underestimate this placement, because when the Sun conjuncts Saturn, you're going to experience something that's going to shatter your experience of reality in such a way that is going to redefine your mental health. It's going to make you aware that there's something you cannot change to heal yourself, and it will force you to do something to change it. However, if it's going to work, it's going to require a considerable amount of effort, a lot of work, discipline, dedication, focus, commitment. You're not going to be able to achieve your goal unless you become very, very disciplined. So whatever you're going to do around the full moon and until February 28, it's not going to be pleasant. And the moon is going to highlight the need to do something that somehow your emotions get in the way of the work that you have to do. And you have to restrict yourself. You have to control yourself. Because this full moon is in opposition to this Saturn. So you'll feel like, I can't just get what I want. I can't just do what I want. I can't just be like a child, just following my impulses. I have to hold myself back. And unfortunately, whatever I do to hold myself back is necessary to fix my health. So a lot of people will also experience some kind of health problem, maybe a problem with work, a problem in their career, a problem with their co-workers, a problem with their pets, a problem with their children, a problem maybe in a divorce that they're thinking about, or they have a problem in their home with the technology, maybe their car is breaking down, maybe they are buying a new computer because the old computer is breaking apart. Something is happening that is making you aware that thing is breaking and you have to make repairs. Because if you don't do repairs now, Saturn is going to punish you. It's going to force you to do something that is not going to make you happy. But you have to do it. Now, Vesat is a motherfucker of a full moon, if I ever heard one. I mean, this is a very, very negative full moon. Don't get this twisted. You know, you heard me of what I just told you about the Saturn, the Sun, the moon opposition. This is a motherfucker because It's a full moon in Virgo. What do you expect? First of all, Virgo is always about problems. It's never about relaxation. It's never about having a comfortable, nice, cozy time at home, having fun. No. It's about work. It's about fixing an issue. It's about your health. It's about diet. It's about routine. It's about shit breaking down. It's about shit needing to be improved. And this full moon doesn't really have any connections to anything. Because Black Moon Lilith is too far away. Hecate is in a 6-degree orbit. So technically, perhaps there could be a conjunction. But whatever that conjunction is going to be happens one day before the full moon. So this conjunction between the moon and Hecate happened on the 23rd of February. On some level, this indicates a need to choose a path. Are you going to commit yourself to this, or are you going to commit yourself to that? Either way is going to be quite dark, because there's going to be very, very heavy consequences, whatever way you choose. It's going to impact your health in the long term. As Hecate is at 29 degrees of 44, it is going to enter the sign of Virgo just a few days after the full moon. So Hecate is leaving Leo to bring a need to choose a path in your health. And particularly the depositor of Virgo is quite afflicted because Mercury is in Pisces, and that's a really bad position for the full moon to have its depositor in the worst sign possible. Because Mercury in Pisces, if you want to fix a health problem, Piscean idealism is the last thing you want. So if you get an idea that maybe I should just relax, maybe it's about the bigger picture, be careful, because the bigger picture can actually it can get things very, very confused for you, and you may really fluctuate in your emotions because your mind is trying to find the bigger meaning of the problem you're dealing with, and the problem is quite depressing at this time, I'm not going to lie, because this Sun-Saturn conjunction makes the issue that you have so depressing that you'll be having very dark thoughts during this full moon. Now, of course, not everybody is going to have that, but to be honest with you, collectively, this transit is pretty shit, because the depositor is in its sign of detriment, and it's strengthened by the sun, meaning that our thinking is not like we really want to do any work right now. As Mercury moves through Pisces, you have to pay extra attention, because there could be issues in your business dealings, in your transactions, in your negotiations. There could be something that goes wrong because you're not paying attention. It will be very difficult for you to focus on anything. You'll be distracted. You'll be very much fluctuating in your moods. Everything is very mutable energy right now. Neptune, Saturn, the Sun, Mercury, the Moon. All of these are in a mutable sign. We have some fixed energies, which are Mars and Venus conjunction Aquarius, and we have Jupiter Uranus. So the question is whether mutability is going to offer a solution, or whether you have to be fixed to fix a problem. Because Mars conjunction Venus is happening right around this full moon in Virgo. So you see here on this chart, let me put it to the side because it's too much in my face, that Mars conjunction Venus in Aquarius. Now what does this in particular mean? Because we've had a lot of people talk about this conjunction. If you ask me, it's the pleasure principle of Venus being desired, being chased after by Mars. Mars is looking for that beauty. Mars is looking for that money, for that preciousness, for that person, for that community, for that friendship, for that alignment. And Mars is looking for the progress to create something of value and to attain something of value and to magnetically attract that in a detached, cold, progressive, technological way in which you come up with a solution to approach a person, maybe make new friends, maybe start dating at this time, or you change something about your looks, about your appearance, you change something about yourself to make yourself more magnetic, because Venus is highlighting the need to attract an object of your desire. And Mars is that desire in Aquarius. Now, Aquarius in particular is about freedom. But freedom cannot really be attained in a relationship or in an object of value unless you have some kind of goal, unless you have some kind of vision of what you're working towards. And that vision is going to get you what you're looking for. And everybody should on some level work towards that vision. And there's also going to be a problem here, because this is one of the breakup indicators that are happening for you collectively right now. Because Mars is a planet of separation, it's a planet of conflict. Conflict is happening where your values, where your beauty, where your relationships, where your object that you want is concerned. So you're fighting for beauty, you're fighting for money, you're fighting for your relationship, you're #fighting, and that fight is deposited by Aries, which is conjunction the North Node and Chiron. Now that particular combination of events is marking the fact that many people are going through a breakup at this time, because Chiron is the healer and Mars is the fighter, and both are concerning our relationships. And the karma is happening in the relationships because the South Node is in Libra, and the South Node is the past. So we're moving away from the relationships, we're moving away from the past, we're moving away from the object of our possession, which we're trying to balance, to attain, but by magnetically trying to balance everything, refining ourselves, controlling things, we are reenacting our karma. We are reenacting our own self-enslavement, which is going to be highlighted by Chiron on the North Node in order to heal from that by creating some kind of problem. By creating a problem you feel you cannot solve to push you towards individuation and self-assertion, which is honesty, integrity, authenticity, which is the North Node in Aries. And the Mars is going to push you to make different decisions in your relationships. Maybe you're blocking somebody, or you're going into a new relationship to get a new beneficiary to support you. Because if you're not going through a breakup, then somebody may come towards you to support you in some kind of way. And this person will come from a community that can be in the internet, because Aquarius was the internet. It can be a group of friends. If you're going to a retreat, if you're going to a meeting, or if you're just networking, to try to connect to other people on the outside. This is the best time to do that, because these aspects will allow you to cash in on your self-assertion and your action. Yeah, the North Node is going to reward Mars to get the Venus that he's looking for if you take aggressive action. So you're really starting something new here, but that thing you're realizing is going to require a tremendous amount of self-discipline in order to get what you want, because Mars is just coming out of a Pluto conjunction and Sun is conjunction Saturn. So this is I really don't like these energies. I'm going to say this again, because these energies, they're the opposite of what I'm about. My personality is not what these planets are about. Yeah, I'm only talking about myself. So for some people this will resonate, and for some of you it will not. So if it doesn't resonate, don't worry about it. Look at it as your opposite. Look at this as your shadow, or whatever you're trying to get away from, because it's not you. But if this is you, then maybe it can help you to understand what is happening right now. So for me, you have to know about me, I'm a very snake-like personality. I'm a trickster personality. I do not like to be constricted. I don't like to be limited in my options. I always am, in my mind, I'm always thinking, I want all these options. I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this. And if somebody comes to me and tells me, oh, I'm sorry, you can't do anything, you can only do this one thing, and that one thing, you're not going to like it, but you have to do it anyways. I'm like, who are you talking to? You're telling me I have to listen to you and I have to submit to your oppression? Or, let's say it differently. My personality is fluid. So if I'm in the mood to do something, I do it. If I'm not in the mood, I don't do it. Okay, I'm a Cancer Sun and Rising. I'm a cardinal dominant. Do you see any planets in the cardinal sign in this chart? Do you see a single planet that is cardinal in this chart? I'm waiting. That's right, there is not a single planet in cardinal sign. So I do not, and I repeat myself, I do not like any of these energies, because they're not about taking action from your heart, from yourself. They're not about you. They're not about what you want. They're not about your independence. They're not about you having options. They're not about you coming to terms with who you are and asserting your individuality and growing from your core. These aspects are to get you away from what you're already doing. These aspects are to redirect you through force, by forcing you, by whipping you, by hammering on you, attacking you, pushing you down. That's these energies. Now that is not me. So whoever in the cosmic clock, in the agency, or whoever the fuck you want to call it, made this aspect, made this full moon, made these planetary alignments. So at this time, that person is not my friend. And whoever is friends with that person, I don't want to know anything about them. So with that being out of the way, I hope you understand that if you're going through a hard time, don't blame yourself. Because why the fuck wouldn't you? Really. So, is there anything positive I can say about this? As you can see here, there's not many trines. There's not many sextiles. I see a bunch of red lines. I see one blue line, 2, 3, 4. The rest is all in red. So there's one trine between what? Eris and Lilith. Who the fuck gives a shit? Between asteroids, nobody cares. And there's a trine between Lucifer and the Sun. Nobody cares about that either, because it's an asteroid too. Okay, there's one good aspect here, which is kind of weird because it looks not even quite right. Between Pluto and Neptune. Now if you can go and look at this chart. Let's see here. The moon is trine Jupiter. The sun is sextile Jupiter. Okay. So maybe there is something happening that makes you feel a little bit more optimistic. something that you're doing in the time of a full moon in Virgo, where things are actually going your way for once. But it's not very long, because it's a short-lived moment, because the moon is making these good aspects. And the sun is not going to make the sextile for very long, because even if it is conjunction Saturn and is going to maintain that sextile, it's Saturn creating a sextile with Jupiter. Meaning Saturn is going to be strengthened even further. Now, do you want that? Me personally, no. So a sextile can actually be something negative if Jupiter is expanding, the planet of restriction, which is going to be combusted and exploded around the 28th of February by Saturn. So around that time, you can expect that you'll really have that problem in your face, and you better do something about it. And you can, but you're not going to like it. But any other good aspects? Not really. Okay, Neptune sextile Pluto. Nobody gives a shit. Because that sextile has been going on for how many months now? Nobody cares. Okay, I don't care, so you shouldn't either. And that's the only good aspects I can see in this entire chart. All the other good aspects are between asteroids. So this is a very disharmonious full moon, actually. Yeah, but it's a mutable science. And mutable science are about problems, they're very elusive, and they force you to change yourself, to adapt, and to come up with a creative solution to fix a problem. Okay, so this is a time of healing, it's a time of work. As if not this whole realm was about work and healing all my fucking life, and I didn't have anything better to do. But here we go again. Another full moon, just like that. And anybody, any astrologer, who tells you that this isn't exactly the shit show, that this absolutely obviously is, they're a fucking con artist, they're a toxic positivity bypasser, and they have no idea what's going on right now. This Saturn-Sun conjunction is supposed to be negative. Do you really think the Sun would be in a conjunction with Saturn? Saturn, the lord of restriction, the lord of misery, the lord of tears. Do you really think the Sun illuminating, highlighting, strengthening that motherfucker is going to be good for you? It's going to feel nice? It's going to feel lovely? Sunshine, rainbows, really? Really? Especially in Pisces, the sign of shadow work, the sign of the deep shit, the sign of self-healing, retreating, isolation, and mental illness. All right then. But enough about that. There's a malefic on the Sun, Saturn. There's a malefic on Mars. There's a malefic approaching, close enough, Jupiter conjunction Uranus. All the masculine planets are supposed to take action, supposed to take charge. Their conjunction a malefic. Yeah. Well, Mars is conjunction a beneficiary, but the beneficiary is conjunction a malefic, so you know what I mean. And who's depositing Neptune? Ah, yeah. Neptune is depositing for Pisces in his own sign. What does it mean? It means that everybody is still going through some kind of disillusionment. Yeah, until Pisces season is over, because it just started. Until the end of March, there's still going to be some shattering of illusions, where people have been holding on to the wrong belief systems, the wrong religion, have sold their soul to the devil, quite literally, which represents Saturn. So now more than ever, it will become obvious how people are selling their soul to false beliefs and programs that are causing distortions in the sense of reality, in the perception, which is Mercury in Pisces, conjunction with the Sun. Our perception, which is about recognizing what reality really is, what's really happening around us. To see just how restricted we are. And that coming into this ghetto, this gangster planet, sometimes can be quite difficult. And how much we can do about it is even more difficult to see. And because it's so difficult to see a way out, because it's so difficult to see a light at the end of a tunnel, when Saturn is on the Sun, the light within, it is very difficult to see the light indeed. Then illusions, deceptions, denial is the strongest at an all-time high. I'm telling you this. These illusions, people being Lulu in La La Land, in the Looney Bin singing Looney Tunes, is an all-time high right now. There's so much fucking self-denial, deception going on, that people like me, we are the enemy of these people, and we are shut down. My algorithm is pushed down, all the way down. Because most of my people, most of you, which are my listeners and viewers, you're really a minority. My algorithm is really messed up because most people are going towards those people who are enforcing their denial, who are telling them good things, how everything's nice, how everything's great, who are reinforcing the same messages over and over again to get people to stop looking, to stop thinking, to stop questioning, to stop judging, and to sell their soul to some kind of entity, some kind of religious thing, whether it's a belief, whether it's a lifestyle choice. Oh, I choose to see the positive, I don't want to deal with the negative. So there will be a clash. There will be some kind of clash during this time between Sun and Saturn. And be very careful. Be very careful because you're surrounded by the shit show, and the temptation to fall into denial is very strong right now. Very strong. I'm telling you. I'm noticing this recently. I've been looking deep into this because I myself have noticed this, that when something really bad happens and things look very dark, it's like the brain wants to believe that it's not as bad as it actually is. It really wants to believe in something better. And the moment you do that, the moment you believe in something other than what it actually is, you have already sold your soul. You're already dead. Because if you're not seeing, you're dreaming. You're in the realm of illusion. But the dreaming is not supposed to be to go into denial. It's not supposed to be used for escaping. The dreaming is supposed to be used for a vision, to create a better future. That's what dreaming is supposed to be about. But most people are getting it twisted. Instead of creating a better future, they are reframing their current sense of reality. Instead of dreaming of a better thing to go towards, they're dreaming that they are already in the better thing. Right? How they're telling you, feel as if you're already there. Think as if you're already there. So don't interact with reality. Don't interact with reality. Already be in the future, even though you've done absolutely nothing, and I mean nothing, to get there. Oh, you're already there. Boom. So you don't have to do any work. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to commit yourself. You don't need discipline. You don't need work. You don't need focus. You can settle for mediocrity of the present moment if you pretend that the mediocrity doesn't exist and it's all in your head. So when you're really in your head, because you can't deal with reality. You're a child. You're infantile. You're delusional. And you want to tell me that I'm the problem because I am Saturn representative? I'm channeling any fucking deity that you bring to me. Whether it's motherfucker Pluto, whether it's son of a bitch Saturn, or it's master of disillusionment and disappointment Neptune, I can channel all of these motherfuckers and you're not gonna like any of them. Because they're all manifestations of reality and you don't like reality. So you wanna stay in Looney Bin, singing your Looney Tunes, being like this rah, 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 with your head back and forth while you have the fluorides there and you're like, in bliss all the time because you're fucking delusional and you need therapy. But you're going around spreading your disease towards other people to try to missionary them, to convert them into your delusional false reality, so everybody can live in a shared fantasy, which is a narcissistic, pathological madhouse. And that is the very definition of hell. So you want me to be in hell? But you're telling me that I bring the hell to you. You're telling me I'm in 3D, you're in 3D. You're not in 3D at all. You're in, what the fuck is this? This is below zero. At this point, this is in the minus area. So that's just all that I have to say about this Pisces energy, all these Pisces planets and displacements. So let's see here, comments. We are not the minority. Algorithms want you to believe that. Yeah, I don't know. If I go around and I go outside and look around, to me personally, it's the minority that is dealing with reality. The majority of people don't really want to listen to you or me or anybody. I don't think the majority of people are interested in the truth. They're interested in comforters, to feel good all the time, to be always positive, to always look at the bright side, to always have a nice, comfortable pillow around their neck, like a Jehovah's implant, to sell their soul to the devil, which is either a religion, because most people are religious, in case you didn't notice. Most people are mentally ill. Or they have some kind of trauma bond with a toxic person, because most people are trauma bonded actually. There are very, very few healthy relationships. If I go outside, I don't need to go outside. I can go online. I can go on Facebook. I can look around. And the mental illness is everywhere. So whoever is telling me that this is not happening, well, you know who you are. Saturn in my fourth was trying to go through. Okay, so there's no questions anyways. I can basically stop the reading at this point. There's nothing else to say. I don't find any of these other planetary alignments very interesting to talk about. I talked about Chiron in great detail. If you want to hear me about Chiron and my rants on that, you can check out my previous videos. But I can give you a little note on that Chiron before we end it. So that Chiron, which is probably the biggest motherfucker of all of these planets, whether it's Pluto, Uranus, Neptune or Saturn, and any of these malefics, the worst case scenario is absolutely Chiron. And the worst case scenario is on the North Node. Because Chiron is about, I got poisoned, I cannot heal the poison, I'm going to die. Oh, but I'm immortal, I cannot die. Oh, I'm not going to die, I'm going to suffer. I want suicide, please. So then Chiron commits suicide and gets elevated into the heavens. That's the worst case scenario. Better Chiron is on the North Node, our collective destiny. Our collective destiny is the worst case scenario in the sign of Aries, the identity, which is your face, which is your head. Maybe you have some problems with your face. Maybe you have some problems with your self-image, with your looks, your appearance. Yes, nobody talks about this, but it's hella obvious that Aries is about the face. It's about how you look. So people can go through some kind of illness of the face, some kind of, maybe somebody is experiencing a sense of aging, because there's also Saturn on the sun, and Saturn is literally the lord of aging. So there's some motherfucking fuckery going on for somebody right now. And Chiron is about the inner doctor. Why Chiron couldn't heal himself, so what doctor is good for you if you can't even use it? But he was quite the expert. So your mission is to become the expert on trying to heal your face, your identity, through any means possible. So maybe somebody is going to come to you, which is the South Node in Libra, in some relationship that you're divorcing right now, to reclaim your identity, heal yourself. If you have any self-respect issues, self-esteem issues, self-assertiveness issues, the relationship is going to highlight that. Whatever you're coming out of. And if not, then perhaps your job. And somebody is going to trigger just how vulnerable your sense of self is. There's something precarious, something that needs to be worked on in that area. Of course, it depends what house Chiron is in to determine how it's going to manifest. Is up to you. But it's quite a heavy placement. This is one of the heaviest aspects you could possibly imagine, if you're asking me, because this doesn't happen very often. Chiron North Node happens. How many times does the North Node need to make this return? A decade? 2 decades? Do you have any idea how rare this placement is? Of course you don't. So you ignore this placement thinking, yeah, there's nothing happening. Of course not. That's why it's not a shit show in your life right now, in some area. And you're working so hard on that area, you better be working on it. And you better be making a change, because the change has to be quite radical. If you want any hope of fixing that problem, because small solutions, small steps, they might be enough if you're consistent, if you're committing yourself, but it's not going to be enough to just say, yeah, we've had that problem before, we're just gonna ignore it for a while, we can deal with it later. You cannot deal with it later. If you try to postpone your health problem, whether it's your mental health, your physical health, or your relationship health, or your psychology, something, it's going to come back to haunt you later. So this is the best time to do healing. Because honestly, this is all the planets are about that. Moon, Sun, Saturn, Mercury. Saturn is going to reward you for taking care of your mental health and coming out of delusions. It's going to punish you very fucking hard if you're in any denial or postponement. So if you're doing some postponing, you better show something to Saturn to make sure that you're doing your work, because you don't want things to get worse, right? Because trust me, it can always get worse. Wherever North Node is concerned, Saturn is concerned, it can always bring a new problem. Oh, I thought I was fixing this issue. Maybe on the surface, but at the core, there was something else you've been dealing with for a very long time. You know it was there. Now it's time to take it on. I mean, if you ask me, this is all about long-term issues. This has been issues that have been building for years, which is why it's no surprise that I've had 4 clients in the past month who are going through a divorce. 4 clients divorcing right now. From how many years they have been with this person? 10 years? 15 years? Why are you divorcing now? You should have divorced a decade ago. You shouldn't even have married this person. What are you doing? So when Chiron is telling you, what are you doing? Let me show you just what the shit show this is. And then you're going to become the healer. And you're going to drop it. That's quite rough. I mean, not sugarcoating anything. I don't do with sugarcoating. Wrong channel, bitch. This whole month is just crazy. Yeah, sorry to say, but it is. Pluto has been on the Sun, then it has gone on Venus, then it was on Mars. Now we have Saturn-Sun conjunction. And after this, there's going to be a Sun conjunction Neptune before the Sun finally moves into Aries. But doesn't even end there, because the Sun is going to be conjunction Chiron in April. That's going to be the last, the very last portrait. After this, I wouldn't worry. But to be honest with you, after the Sun-Saturn, it's already over. Most of the nightmare is going to be finished, thank goodness. I couldn't wait for this to be over, to be honest with you. It's been 4 months, actually, since November last year, when Saturn turned direct. I know people have been saying, oh, all the planets are going direct, it's going to be so much better. Yeah, in some ways, it has been getting better, absolutely. I agree. A lot of energies have been unblocked. But what happens if you unblock the floodgate? The flood happens! So that's what we're going through now. We're getting flooded. Especially with all this Pisces energy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because the Sun counts twice. 5 points in Pisces. We are dealing with a Pisces stellium right now. That's a flood going through the lymphatic system. That's a mucus purge. A major pus purge, if you ask me. The pus is coming out from what? Because Neptune in Pisces represents the higher heart. The heart of idealism. The heart of the soul that sees the best in everything. But to see the best, you have to see the worst. And only if you see the worst can you actually see the best at the same time. If you're not seeing the best in something, you're not going to see the worst. But there's so many distortions in that area. I can't even talk about it because I hate how much people are actually sick. What I really want for people is to be able to feel what is real. Get out of your head. Stop trying to find more and more and more information to get a logical, rational explanation for what is real and what you have to do. You don't need logical explanation. You just need to feel what to do and then act on that feeling. And that's pretty fucking hard, and most of us will not be able to do that. So most of us do need some logic. So hopefully I can provide some of this astrology. But never forget, but no matter how much logic you get, only gets you so far. It's very limited. But also, our delusions are limiting too. So this is what we're letting go of, because we're finally finding shit. The floodgate is open. Now I have to deal with all this water everywhere. It's Pisces, water everywhere. All this shit around me, I have to deal with it. I have to clean it, like scrubbing the floor. I have to scrub this, I have to scrub that, but wait, there's more. Anyways, that is the month of February in a nutshell, from this full moon alignment. Of course, this full moon is not going to last very long. It's going to last until the 28th of February when the Sun moves into Saturn. After that, there's not going to be any break for anybody until the Sun leaves Saturn's orbit, which is going to be around the 3rd or the 5th of March. So in March you get the rest, but for now, don't count on it. However, one note before we leave. Pisces is the sign of rest. It's a sign of sleep. It's a sign of regeneration. It's a sign of healing. It's not about work. This full moon in Virgo is ironically a motherfucker because it's about work in opposition to rest, to sleep, to Pisces. After this full moon is over, for the rest of this Pisces season, focus on rest. Focus on regeneration. Don't focus on work, please. You've been focusing on work more than enough recently. Take a break. Because that's how you find balance in Pisces. Because the energies are not going to let you do anything anyways. Still 0 planets in fire and 0 planets in a cardinal sign. It's not the time to take action. In a physical sense. Yeah. It's not like you shouldn't take some action, but I hope you know what I mean. So, with that being said, if you like this reading, please leave a like, leave a comment. If you're interested in more updates like this, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Facebook, and if you're interested in a personal reading, in a personal prediction, so you can see what's really happening in your chart, in your life, moving forward, moving backwards, moving in the present, whether you're looking for a prediction, a transit, or a personal whole chart interpretation, which I do in a 3-hour session plus PDF, or a 44-minute mini reading, just reach out to me anytime. I'm available on Messenger, and thanks for watching. See you in the next video.